a lot of memories came up, and they became vivid and more intense to the point that I was actually reliving them, and not like as a thought, and then I was back in the hospital again. And I didn't understand anything what happened, but I knew this was more real than whatever I had experienced or lived or heard or read or thought in my entire life. And at that moment, I knew it was going to be all right. And it's so effective. And I like, you don't have to do it, but please do it. I mean, like it's so easy and it's so beautiful, and you just get addicted to it.
All right, my friends, I'm here with Bert Corsius, and he's all the way from Belgium. He is a coach, and he's also a video and movie producer, producing movies about consciousness and doing music videos and instruction videos and that sort of thing. And he's here to tell us a little bit about his life and what brought him to his awakening, I guess you could say, so to speak. Beck, maybe you could start with when you were 15 years old and tell us a little bit about that and how that transformed your life, and we'll just let it go wherever it goes from there. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure being here. And okay, so when I was 15 years old, I had like severe headaches, but I didn't want to go to the doctor. And but at one point I had to, because I didn't like have no equilibrium anymore, and I was sick all the time. And then they found out I had not a tumor, but I had a second set of brains in my head, and it started to grow, yeah, like an infant. It grew in 6 months. It was like this big, so they had to get it out because like the pressure in my head was way too big, and everything was squashed, and it didn't work properly anymore. So, but the thing was, I was way too late to go to the doctor. The pressure was way too big, and if they would start to operate, if they would make an incision, my head would explode. So they had to find a way to drain and to get the pressure out, and that's why I got this dent here. So what they did is they had to drill a hole in my head, but they like here is the frontal. What do you call it?
The frontal lobes.
Yeah. So the thing that's the difference between us and animals. So they couldn't touch that. So they had to make sure they went through my skull but didn't touch my brain there. And so they couldn't put me to sleep because they had to see what my reaction was. I had to look into the eyes of the nurse and make up stories and conjugate verbs while there was a guy coming with a big construction drill.
Oh, wow.
Drill in my head. Yeah. And apparently it went okay. And they drilled a hole here. And for 2 weeks they drained everything. So the pressure was okay in my head, and so they could operate.
Wow.
A couple minutes before or no, 2 hours before the operation, the doctor came to me and he said, like, we've done this kind of operations, but not the kind you have, or not a specific kind you have. And we don't know if you will ever wake up or in what state you will wake up. So it's a good thing or we advise you to say goodbye to your loved ones. And because you will never know if you in what state you will wake up, or if you will wake up.
Was that kind of scary for you at the time?
Now it is, but back then it wasn't. It was so I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to do with that information, and I didn't up till that point. Even though they drilled a hole in my head, I didn't think it was that serious or like that severe problem I had. And then he told me that, and he said, like, we will do our best to save you and to heal you. But the thing is, the way what you have to do to support us, you have to try to find a way that there is no stress or no pressure at all in your body. So you have to find a way to find ultimate stillness and bliss within you. And I didn't have a clue what the guy was saying, but he said like the body is the main thing. We will do our best, but the healing has to come from your own body. And but because the wounds in your head will be extremely large, we have to kill every bit of immune system in you, because otherwise it will heal too quick, and you surely will develop any kind of cancer or whatever. But the thing is, when we kill your immune system, you don't have any defense mechanism against the pain. And when you would realize the kind of pain you're in, you would internally commit suicide. So we have to keep you in a deep coma on the brink of death. He said, like, yeah, it's a kind of tricky thing. So you have to find a way to be in complete peace within yourself, and that's the only way this can work out. And he said, look, so yeah, we invite you, or we suggest that you say goodbye to your loved ones, and that you find a way that you feel complete with life. If it ends right here, right now, is it okay? Are you experienced, and have you done what you came to do here?
Wow.
I didn't have a clue what he was saying. And then he went away, because the operation would be in 2 or 3 hours, and he went away. And I started thinking about my life, like, what am I complete? If it's okay, if it's the end, and what did I have a mission here? What I was only 15 or 16, no, 16 years old, and I was like, why what is this actually? Who am I? Or like, and then I couldn't find any answers, and then I started thinking like, okay, if I have to say goodbye to people, who are the ones that I have to contact? And then I started thinking about my life, and a lot of memories came up, and they became vivid and more intense, to the point that I was actually reliving them, and not like as a thought. My experience was that I was catapulted back in that situation. I relived every memory, or like every second in my entire life. I relived it. I was there, and it felt more real than this conversation right now, than being than my experience in the now. It felt more real, and I could see what was going on, but not only through my own eyes, and through my own eyes and through my own experience and through my own feelings, but through that of every position in me, every self-portrait of me. And like Bert as a son, Bert as a young guy, Bert as a cocky guy who thinks he knows everything or whatever. I could see like millions of possible perceptions within myself, and what they would see, what they would feel, what their experience would be like. And I could see the same thing, I lived the same thing through the eyes of all the other people involved. And then there was one, like a surveillance camera point of view, that I could see from above the whole thing, everyone sitting there, and what the energy was like. So I not only relived every moment, I relived every moment in like countless point of views.
Wow.
And that from every point of view, there was a way to see everything aligned, to see the beauty and the perfection in every story. And once I saw that, it fell away. Or when I saw that, when I felt that, when I lived that. So I was living like millions, countless situations at the same time. So it was extreme chaos in my head. And still, I never felt such peace and tranquility. It was like, I was the observer of it all, and the one who was living it all. And all at the same time. And once I came to that conclusion that like, and not just in my mind, but that like it was a direct experience. Once I experienced the perfection of it all, of every situation, of every point of view, then it fell away, and all of a sudden, everything was away. Everything went away, and I was like in nothing. This was like it's like yeah, there was nothing anymore. But then my mind came in again, or then I had thoughts like, if there is nothing expressing or manifesting as everything, and you're still here, then the only possible logic is that you are nothing and everything at the same time. And then I was back in the hospital again. And I didn't understand anything what happened, but I knew this was more real than whatever I had experienced or lived or heard or read or thought in my entire life. And at that moment, I knew it was going to be all right. Whatever happens, if I would survive or I would die in the thing, it would be okay.
So you said you were awake during the procedure. Was this was during the procedure, or
no? This was before the procedure.
Oh, this was before the procedure.
Okay. Yeah, because that's a beautiful. Well, for me, that's a beauty. Most people who have a near-death experience are in a procedure or in an accident or
Right.
on drugs. I was like, I didn't have had any medicine or whatever. It was just the realization or the inquiry into who am I and what is this life all about that gave me that experience.
That's awesome. So that proves you don't have to die to have, because it sounds very much like an NDE experience.
It is. And that's what I do with people. I take them back to, not take them back, I remind them of what is always available and what is the essence of every moment. Because everything in life comes and goes, everything, and it's to perception. Like we all make stories about everything, and everything comes and goes and changes. But what is there that doesn't change? Is there something that is continuous, that is stable? Because we can't rely on anything that changes all the time.
Right.
So I take them back to the here and now, because it's always here and now. It's always here and now.
Yeah,
And
there's no past, there's no future, there's only the now. Yeah.
there's only now, and there are endless, countless possibilities and stories about the now and about history, his story, about and about our thoughts or interpretations or whatever. But the only consistent thing is, for some reason, I have a feeling I exist, and it's here now. And I, or whatever I call I, is aware of any experience I have.
Right.
And I take people just to stay with that knowledge, because no one would disagree with me. Everyone knows they exist, or I have a feeling they exist, and everyone knows it's here and now. The rest, differences for everyone. So I just keep them there and marinate in that. And once we do that, it's like in meditation, that a whole lot of things come up. First, all our conditioning has to come out, because we know it only exists as a thought believed in to be true, believed, brought into life, manifest.
Right. And yeah, identify with that. Yeah. I had an experience where I meditated on who am I don't know, for about a month or so. And then one time I was in a deep meditation and I got an answer. I call it an answer, but it was sounds similar to what you said. I was everything and I was nothing, yet I still had some sense of me,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Okay. So that's, and so I going back to the operation, I realized that it is okay, and it was always okay, and it will ever be okay, and in a way that my mind just can't grasp how utterly magnificent this human experience is. It's just, and it's at the same time too simple and too extraordinary or too magnificent for my brain to grasp. It's like
Too complex. Yeah.
too complex. It's like a dog. A dog is aware of way more frequencies of noise than we are. It's not. It's not that it's not there. The frequencies. We just this instrument just can't grasp it. And that's what we do. Is we look at life through our five sentence, and we put the limitation of our sentence on life. That's and then life looks kind of logical or whatever, but that's not because it is. It is because the instruments we use to experience it are way too limited.
Right. Yeah. It's a miracle that we're even here.
Yeah, it's we learn in biology, and we learn that everything is energy, always moving, always changing. It's never lost. And then at some way, looking at it, it become quarks and then molecules, and then they combine in a structure, and then we make a story about it, and all of a sudden, this looks real. This is the most insane trip ever. There's no kind of drugs that comes even near to it, to what we have right here.
Right.
And we can prove this is real. I can feel it. And I'm talking to somebody through the internet. But this is insane.
I agree with you. So from this point on, how did this transform your life? Did it transform it like almost instantly, or did it take a little while for you to process this?
It took me 10 years to try to understand what happened. Because my mind couldn't grasp it at all. And I'm not the dumbest guy ever, but it doesn't matter how intelligent or how religious or how spiritual we are, the mind just can't grasp it. It's impossible. And it took me 10 years to understand that my mind could never grasp it. And then I gave up, or like my mind gave up. And then the whole thing switched. Then my consciousness or my heart space or whatever you want to call it became the king again, and my mind was just a noble servant. Then the whole peace thing came back again. And then once I realized that, then I thought, like, I was making videos for 6-7 months. I had a full schedule, like, but a bit too much work. Like, I was working day and night. And I thought, that's my passion. I always want to do that. But like for the next half year, I don't have time to eat nor sleep or to see my friends. Then I thought to myself, I want a bit more spaciousness in my agenda, in my schedule. And once I said that, the next 2 days, the mails and the phones kept coming in. People like canceling their order or like the project they were doing. And within 4 or 5 days, my whole agenda was like nearly empty. And I was like, what the fuck is this, man? I just came up with the decision, with the wish, and everything started changing. I was panicking. I was like, okay, my income and how I'm going to live. And then I thought, oh, wait. Now I've been making videos for 10 years or for 8 years. I've got the skills, I've got the knowledge, I've got the network. Now I can tell my own story. Oh, and then I thought, but what is my story? Who am I actually? If I can convey something to the world, what would it be? And that brought me back to my near-death experience. And I thought, yeah, I'm gonna create this thing so people can do their own inquiry and come to that same conclusion or come to that same holy message within themselves. And then I thought, okay, how am I going to do this? I have to contact people in monasteries, read books, look into philosophy. And I thought, man, that's going to take lifetimes. So wait, hold on. I have to find some key figures who already been on that path and then combine their wisdom or whatever. And so the next day, I met a guy, and he asked me, so are you still making videos? I said, yes. Still making documentaries, yes. And what are you working on these days? And I thought, well, actually, everyone canceled this week. So I told him, yeah, I'm telling the story about like, what is this I? What does it mean to be alive? What are we here for? Like, and I said, yeah, but I have to find someone who already been on this path, so I don't have to do all the research myself. And then he said, this is so strange. I said, what is so strange? I just came back from South Africa. I met such a guy, and I was so blown away by him. I'm getting it next month. I'm getting him to Belgium, and maybe I said I definitely should meet him. And he said, "Yeah, but he's gonna lead a course here. You first have to do this because otherwise you don't understand what he's saying." And I was like, "No, I don't. I just want to interview the guy. I don't want like any course or whatever. I already know what life is about. I don't have to do any course. I know what it is." I'm like, they said, yeah, but you don't understand. I said, yeah, I do understand, but we'll see, we'll see. And then the guy kept calling me like, do you want to do the course or whatever? And I was like, I don't want to be rude because otherwise I lose this connection to interview the guy. And but I don't want to do the course. I don't want to spend money on it anyway. So I made up a lie to him. I said like, I don't have the funds anymore because the thing what happened is I bought stocks and I actually did bought stock. I said like, and I lost a lot of money. I lost like 6,000 euros. And what he said to me was like, that's why what the course is designed for. That what it's designed for. Yeah, so these kind of things don't occur anymore in your life. And I was like, what? A course? So my external financial world would, eh? What are you saying, man? And so I said, yeah, okay, we'll see. Call me back in a couple of days. And I hang up the phone and I thought like, felt bad like lying to him. And then I thought like, okay, but what's the thing with my stocks actually? Because I actually bought stocks a couple of months ago. And I went on the internet. And the moment I made up the lie, my stocks dropped 6,000 euros. And I was like, what is this, man? What is this? So the next day he called me and he said like, okay, I'm not going to bother you again. I will try to get you that interview. And I know I've been like a bit harsh on you, but I know my own experience. When I tried to get in, I didn't want to do it. He said like, but finally they persuaded me, and I did it, and it was the best thing in my life. But I'm not gonna bother you again. And I said, yeah, but things changed. I said like, I might have to go on the course. And I said like. And I told him like if I find the money by next week, I'm in. And it was like 750 euros or something. So I put down my phone and I was a bit annoyed and I threw my phone on my night cabin and a book fell off on the ground and it opened up and there was 750 euros in cash.
Wow.
And I took a picture of it, sent it to him, and I told him I'm in. And yeah, and there was a course about consciousness, and that was it was by a guy called Mark Steinberg. It's creative consciousness. I sent like thousands of people on that course now because it's like there was there are very well in the last 20 years I met wonderful courses and wonderful people, wonderful because all the paths lead to Rome. I mean, like they all bring us to the same thing, and is everyone has a different way of getting there. Of course.
Is he still doing those courses, or?
Yeah. The guy is amazing. Is amazing, and back then he was living in South Africa. It's actually a German guy. He was living in South Africa. So like after 2 days or 3 days in the course, I was having dinner with him. He was sitting next to me. He said like, "And do you like it?" I said, "It's amazing, man. It brings me back to my near-death experience or the same kind of feeling." But then he was the only trainer, and so it took a lot of his energy to like train for like 14 hours a day. So. Yeah. He had to take siestas during the day, and then he put on recordings of himself. And I said, like, but I don't like the recordings. Yeah, he said, but that's not a problem. Like back in the days with Krishnamurti, you know Krishnamurti?
Yeah,
The
I've heard of him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because he had been with Krishnamurti in India, and he said like back in the days there were like more than 10,000 of us listening to a little radio. I said, yeah, okay, but was this ideal? I said, you're right. Like, and what do you suggest to change it? I said, like, fly me to South Africa to where you live. I come live with you for like 1 or 2 months, and we record everything again. We make beautiful recordings that is nice for people to watch and easy to understand or whatever. I said, okay, it's good. So he flew me to South Africa, and I lived there. I lived with him for like a month and a half, and it did so much for my transformation. Oh, yeah, and during the course, the fourth day, I had the same feeling I had when I came out of my near death experience. And after that, I was awake for like 8 or 9 days. I couldn't sleep anymore, and my energy kept rising, rising, and to the amount that I thought I was going insane. I thought this body can't cope with it. I'm not eating. I'm drinking just a little bit, and I started seeing like energies. I could hear people thoughts in my own head. I knew what they were thinking. The most strange
Synchronicities, yeah.
synchronicities started appearing. I thought I was going completely nuts. To a point where I thought I have to go back to sleep because it will fall apart. And then I found an ex-girlfriend with benefits, and then I said like, yeah, try to get me to sleep, man. I need to eat. I need to just like give me like sex and drugs and whatever is needed for me to fall asleep and to eat, because I couldn't eat. I could drink, but eating was way too. It felt like so much drain on my body. I just couldn't get it in. It was like such hardship. And she did some things which got me back to sleep, and I slept for 2 or 3 days, and I like was awake only for like a couple of hours, and then fell asleep again. And that brought everything down again. And then since then everything was changed, because that was the same moment I realized that my mind just can't grasp the thing. And then the whole thing changed. Like my heart came on the throne and became the king, and all of a sudden everything was in balance. And since then, I have the opportunity to inspire people to not live the same way, but like have another glimpse at life. What give them not a bliss state, but like full ecstasy all the time, actually, no matter what happens. Just the miracle of being alive, of like having this trip, this and to experience it as a real coherent reality, whatever. While at the same time we remember what we truly are, what is really here, and what never is never born will never die, and how we can cope with everything that comes on our path. More, even more, that everything that comes on our path is here to serve us, and that there is only magnificent abundance everywhere. We just need to be open to see it, and when we see it, we can experience it. And the only thing, there is no such thing as free will, but in the idea there's free will. As a person, we can only be in resistance. And when we are in resistance, we don't see the things and we don't experience it. And while everything is possible and this life is this huge miracle, you still have the opportunity to see that there's a thing, and then you can experience it like that as well. The God or life or whatever allows us to feel that this is not a nice place to be, and then you can experience it like that. You don't have to. I mean, like
I agree. It's all a matter of perspective.
it's all, and we know it is, because we tell a story and then we feel bad about it, and then we tell the story a bit different the next day, and then we think, oh, this might be an opportunity and or whatever. It's just the way we relate to it. It's about re-relating ourselves to our experience, and the whole thing changes.
I often say to people, yeah, our life is derived from the stories we tell ourselves. So make sure you tell yourself a good story
Yeah.
instead of the bad one, because most people are telling themselves a bad story. You know, they're complaining about everything, and I shouldn't say most, but a lot of people.
No, a lot, but I do know that state in myself as well. I mean, like
Yeah,
there is this the reptilian mind, like the essence of or the beginning of our brain. Yeah, it's like when the deer is drinking water, it always is on the lookout that the tiger won't bite his head off.
right.
But we as people, we mostly still live or walk around in this wonderful world somewhere very cautious. Where's the tiger trying to bite my head off? Personally, I don't know anyone whose head has been bitten off by a tiger.
Yeah. Yeah, living in fear. People fear all kinds of
Yeah.
things that really aren't necessary, and it's taken me a lifetime to figure that out myself too. So
Yeah, me too. And it's still, I'm still aware of that part in my mind with that operates on that level. And then in a way, it's a good thing. Eh? I mean, like to so I don't run on the freeway thinking
yeah,
we're all one and like die in an accident or whatever. But
yeah,
or it's a
yeah.
good thing. It's easy, like making tea or making plants or whatever.
So you get out of the way of that truck that's headed your way right now. You know, you need
Yes,
to get
yes,
out of the
yes.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah.
But like if we diminish life to only that, then that is our experience. That like everything is threatening, and then of course there is only the only option is fear all the time. Then. But like you said, if we tell ourselves another story, live in another context, another perspective, then there is only beauty and abundance and possibilities, like endless. I mean, like no, no, I mean, like,
Yeah, unlimited.
yeah.
Yeah,
That's
people call me crazy because I tell them, you know, because there's a lot of fear in the world right now with a lot of things going on. There's elections around half the world and all kinds of stuff. Here in America, people are fearing all the stuff that's going on. I said, you guys, don't you realize that you put in your attention, your energy into all of that, you're actually helping perpetuate it and create it, you know?
yeah,
And they're like, oh, that's that woo-woo stuff. You're crazy, you know? And so they have to come to it on their own, you know? You
yeah.
can't just tell
That
them.
is, and the beauty and the funny thing is, we know it's like that. It's just our minds or whatever perception in our minds tries to keep us there because the mind knows once you figure that one out, the whole thing crumbles.
Yeah. That what people call the ego. Your ego is like, uh-oh,
Yeah.
I'm in danger here, and I got to start telling more fearful stories and that kind of thing.
Yeah, but we have to keep up that lie, or like,
So that transformed your life to that point, and then you started getting into coaching and teaching people. Do you have any specific like techniques or meditations or anything that you teach people?
well, I don't. Well, there are some, and I try to keep it as simple as possible. So I don't want to use like because there are wonderful mantras and but I don't want to use techniques because I want people to see with their own eyes in their direct experience that is always there. You don't need to take any drugs, plant medicines for it. You don't have to be in any kind of state or whatever. It's in every single moment, whatever happens. Like even if it's really chaotic, it's always the same. I want them to just realize the point of the here and now, and that I'm observing whatever I'm observing, and that is the only truth. What never change. Everything, like I said, everything changes constantly, but stay in that place observing and see what happens.
Be the observer. Yeah, that was the answer that I got through meditation, that you're the observer. And at first I was like, well, what does that mean? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm observing my thoughts. I'm observing the stories that I tell playing out. And so, and even in a situation where somebody's getting, you know, you're having a conflict with somebody, I've learned, and I'm not always good at it, but I've learned that if I can detach myself and be the third party observer, and then it doesn't stir up my emotions to get me angry and lash back at the other person or whatever, because they did or said something to me.
It's amazing, huh? Because then we come to the conclusion, like you said, we are not our thoughts. And whenever we go into reaction, we act like we are our thoughts. Right. So it's not I am in reaction. No, my thought is in reaction. But because I identify with merely that thought, then my experience is that I am in reaction.
Yeah. And the ego tries to throw up more thoughts and memories and things to try and stir you, to get you to identify with that, because let's face it, we've spent a lot of our lives identifying with that. And so it's kind of a hard habit to break sometimes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I don't want to push my thoughts on anyone. Like, everyone has his own path and is entitled to live the way they want to. But in the idea of the afterlife, I don't want people to come up to me and say, like, hey, Bert, you know all this shit, man. Like, I found the things I found out like 2 minutes before I died, you knew it. Why didn't you like kick me in the butt every single second?
Yeah.
Because I know that I know once we die, once we leave this body and go home again or whatever, you will find out. It's like in Islam, they say you have to die before you die. We have to die of the idea we have about ourselves to even be able to leave this body. And surely you will find out what you always knew. Like what I found out the day when I thought I was going to die, or there was a possibility that I was dying. And I want people to find out right now, so they have the opportunity right now this body is still warm, so they can take this idea, or this not idea, this insight, this miracle with them in whatever they do, because this will bless every aspect of your life instantly. No need for like years of meditation and yoga or whatever. No, instantly.
Yeah. That's a great message. Yeah, the Christian scriptures teach that, and several other, the Vedic scriptures. I've studied quite a few of them, and they also teach that the kingdom of God is within. I found that to be in all the cultural religions and esoteric writings and stuff. It's all in there somewhere.
Yeah, but just and it's in there so bluntly and so many times. We just can't.
It's amazing that we miss it. That so many people miss it. It's
amazing that we still can miss it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in every religion, like in Christianity, you've got the Gnostics, and then the Judaism, you got the Kabbalah, and Islam, you got the Sufis.
Yeah, the mystics.
Like, all the mystics, they only point out to not that the rest is not important, but they said like, don't miss that thing, because if you miss that, you will be gone forever. Whatever way you will look at it, the ego will hijack it again and again and again, because the ego knows exactly the way out. But he doesn't want you, and he will say, yeah, but let's look there and let's do. But and keeping your back to the exit. Because he thinks, and it is, if you find the exit, you will cease to exist.
Right. Self-preservation.
In some way it is, because he will cease to exist as the only truth. But in actuality, it will bring him back to his perfect point of being. And then, because all the problems we experience in life is because we, with our ego, try to manage things, which he can't. But leave it to life, leave it to God, and it will be worked out perfectly in way better ways than the ego can ever think.
Yeah, a lot of people think you have to kill the ego, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I say the ego is necessary, like we were talking about. I tell you to get out of the way of that bus or that truck or whatever that's going to hit you. But what we do is we let it run the show for too long, and you got to bring it back into subjection, make it the servant again, kind of like you said, put your higher self or your divine nature on the throne. so to speak.
That's it. That's it. Ta-da! Ta-da! But and the thing is, like, without our ego, we couldn't even experience this life as being
Yeah.
real. So
Yeah.
this is the most beautiful thing, the ego. We just have to put it in perspective. It's like nobody ever read like the user guides.
Yeah. Okay.
We never read the user guide of being human. And it's all in there. It's like you get a body, but
Yeah.
you're not the body. You're the one operating or like within the body. Like we miss that.
Yeah.
It's even like it's the one of the in the Islam. Well, I take away inspiration from every religion, from every philosophy, but they're all too limited for me. But anyway, the Islam starts with like Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasul Allah, which means like in the name of the beloved, there is no God. There is no God but Allah. And Muhammad or the Prophet is the representation or the manifestation of the God. So what it means for me is that like it's all one. It's all one, but we can't even put a name on it, or we shouldn't put a name on it, because then we limit it we make it into an object. But God or life, whatever, is the ultimate subject.
Yeah. It's all of us.
It's everything.
I sometimes term it as we're all unique expressions of the one.
Yes.
And
once we all, I ask people not to believe whatever I say. More, I ask them to doubt whatever I say. Just check for themselves in their own experience. Just for 1 second, leave whatever they think about themselves in life. Just leave it behind a bit. You can get it back later on. Just be open. Just like two friends, like discovering, what this thing is about, like being like an infant, like being really inspired, and see what happens. And we will all come to the same conclusion. There's no other possibility. And once we allow this, you might call it like a story as well, or like this perspective, just a tiny little bit in your life, see what happens.
Yeah, just crack the door open just a little.
Just a little. And see what happens. See what happens.
You can always close it
again. But you will never want to close it again.
Yeah, you'll never close it once you open it. Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I agree. That's a great story and message. Is there any positive message that you would like to leave with our viewers before we go? We're running up on some time here, but I'm not trying to rush you though. If you got any other stories you want to tell, feel free, my friend.
No, I will. Well, people come to me sometimes and they like book a session for 1 hour, and then after 2 days they leave. Like it keeps coming, and people keep remembering situations in their own life, like people they knew from in youth and haven't heard of like in 25 years, and then suddenly for some reason thought about them, and then they called them, and like whatever, like really strange things happen. Yeah, people love that magic in life, and if you open up to it, it's all magic.
Yeah, there's a saying
beyond comprehension.
And I remember, but from somewhere in the ancient wisdom, it's where attention goes, energy flows. So where you're placing your attention, that energy is flowing there, and that's what ends up manifesting eventually. Is the way I understand it.
Yeah, and apart from coaching sessions, I do laughter yoga as well. Do you know laughter yoga? It's just sessions of laughing, like for no reason, for like an hour.
Laughing. Okay. Yeah.
Laughing. Sorry.
Laughing is how I say it, but it took me a minute to say, no, I haven't heard of that. But
and it's amazing, man. Because sometimes I like take people to deep process and whatever, and I think like, oh, this must have opened up their mind, and I said like, what did you think about the sessions? Oh, we had a good laugh. And then I think, well, is that all? But actually, that's the shortcut.
I love it.
It's like if you keep your mouth like this for longer than 20 seconds, you can't retain a bad thought. It's impossible. And if you're really like hardcore depressed, it can't change your mood anymore. And then it changes to an opportunity, and the whole thing changes. Nothing external changed, but my external world and my interpretation is a direct reflection of my internal. And I can't. It's so hard to change anything external or in other people. But if we go inside, it's so easy, and and it's so effective. And I like, you don't have to do it, but please do it. I mean, like it's so easy and it's so beautiful, and you just get addicted to it.
Yeah,
And
laughter's the best medicine, as they say.
and
So,
it really is. It really is like and it's been studied, like the way your hormones go, and like the oxygen is better than any sport.
yeah,
It's like laughing for 10 minutes is better for your abs than half an hour of sit-ups. Yes. And it doesn't have, it only has benefits, not the worst things, or like pain in your back or whatever. It's not there, man. Just laughing. And without reason, because the people come with, yeah, but it's not real. No, of course it's not real. It's just the act of laughing. That's what we want to do, and to see what happens. And it's amazing because you feel like after an hour, you have this feeling in your face. You can't. It takes 3 or 4 days to get it out of there. So whatever happens, it becomes a habit that you start laughing with everything.
That's a fantastic message, and I agree 100%. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on.
Likewise.
And we may have to do it again sometime. And,
yeah, I love to, man. I love to.
I appreciate you doing it kind of on the spur of the moment. That was,
what is the time? 3:00 in the morning here or something? Yeah, it's quarter past 3 in Belgium.
Okay, so you're up late. Here it's 7:18 p.m. right now. So
yeah, and that's the thing as well. Like, once we connect with that, it's do you know, like, Asterix and Obelix? Have you ever heard of it? Like, it's a comic book, Asterix and Obelix. It's like in ancient Roman times.
No, I'm not familiar with it.
Belgium is, we don't have a lot here, but what we're famous for is the amount of beers we have and comic strips. Back in the days, like 100 years ago, we were the only nation in the world who had so many comics. But anyway, the thing is, once we connect, or we always connect, once we realize the only truth is our essence, then we have a connection to unlimited energy. You don't have to eat, you don't have to sleep, you don't have to drink. It's just, you have to learn to control this body so it can deal without sleep. But that's not, you don't have to do that, because you are, or life in you is the ultimate source of all energy. It's and you don't have to know anything. Life will take care of you, whatever. But if in every situation, but you have to create a context where you have access to it. Because that's the beauty in our free will. If we think life is a cock up, and like I have to do everything myself and it's me against the world, then that is going to be your experience, and you can prove it. See how bad life is for me, and God doesn't like me, whatever.
Yeah,
but He loves you. He or it loves you so much that it will grant every wish, always, instantly.
Yeah, that's in all the scriptures and writings too.
Yeah. Ask and thou shalt receive.
Yeah.
It's everything is already there. Doesn't need to come from anywhere. We just have to be open to be able to receive it.
We have to let go of the old story and tell a new one.
All the limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
You don't have to, but as long as you keep your limiting beliefs, then it will, your reality will prove you right.
Yeah.
Like Henry Ford said, whether you say you can or you can't, you're right.
Absolutely. 100%. Well, it's been great talking to you. And
namaste.
And I appreciate you. And thanks for coming on. And thanks for staying up so late for this. And we'll talk again soon.
Beautiful.